Hey everybody, it's Steph and I'm here for a video today just talking about why disabilities should be represented in fiction and why does it matter so much that disabilities are incorporated. I started reading this book last night and I'm like, oh, this is cute, sweet little romance. I'm digging it. And I quickly realized that there was more depth to it than kind of I expected. The book is called Lies, Love, and Breakfast at Tiffany's by Wright. We find out very early on that the main female character has a disability. She had cancer when she was 5 and she lost an eye because of it. So she's one real eye and she has one glass eye. I want to talk to you about reading this story about a heroine with one glass eye. It was the most relatable fictional character I have ever read. It is just remarkable the amount of times I thought that's what I go through. I don't have any vision issues, but I can't hear in my bad ear, in my right ear. It's been that way since I was very little. I couldn't really talk on a phone with this side of my ear after like age 3. It's little decisions that she had to make throughout this book. Being stuck between 2 people and having someone on her bad side, or having someone not realize that she can't see out of this side and someone's sitting there. So in order for her to look at them, she has to fully turn and see them. Or in order for her to have to keep up with the conversation, just looking back and forth, you need to fully rotate your head. It makes it more of a challenge. When she's in the passenger seat of a car, she turns herself fully so that she can see the people behind her in the back seat of the car, as well as the driver. Just little stuff. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but this is the most relatable character I've ever seen in fiction. I have to turn my head to the right if I want to hear who's talking to me on this side, or I make sure that if I'm going to be sitting next to someone, that they are on my left. If we're walking, if we're sitting in the theater, for the movies, in the car, dinner with the family, I sit on the right side so I can hear everybody. It's just what I've always done. And if I were to sit down and write a story with a character such as myself, it's just stuff I take for granted so much I don't even think twice about. Just read through different things that this character thinks and goes through and experiences. It just struck me anew just how important it is to have characters who present different kinds of disabilities, and everyone is differently abled. A physical disability shouldn't make a difference. Okay, here's an example. Okay, let me go to my favorites. Here's something that she says when she's out in a crowd that she doesn't want to be in. Having only one eye meant that I was completely blind on my right side. Any kind of surprise, good or bad, could come from that side and I would never see it. Somebody could sneak up on my side. I wouldn't hear them. I would have no idea they're there unless I heard them loud enough to be heard over here. I had to turn my whole body to face her so I could actually see her. When I talk with someone on my right side, typically it's someone who doesn't know that I can't hear on my right side, I have to look over my shoulder behind me in order for my good ear to be facing them. So I'm going like this. Of course, people who don't know that I can't hear out of this ear have like no idea what I'm doing. But if I want to keep up with the conversation and not ask 5 times, but what'd you say? I feel like an idiot. Then I gotta turn my head around. It's the only way to keep the conversation going. And I can just appreciate these situations that are very everyday normal situations. But if you don't adapt them so that everyone can participate in the conversation and keep up with everything, then it's not a fair equal advantage for everyone in the conversation. He likely didn't mean for me to hear, but the loss of an eye meant I paid better attention to my other senses. And this has nothing to do with the quality of the story. I wouldn't be talking about this video if the story wasn't good. I really enjoyed the story. This main character takes the positives that Audrey has contributed to the world during her lifetime and what she can kind of do to make the world a better place for herself and what she can contribute to the world. So I thought that was an awesome theme. I liked the main characters. I thought the story was great. It was a great romance read. It caught me by surprise. So relatable on multiple levels, and the personality and whatever, but her disability and the fact that it so closely resembles like my life was amazing. And that's why we need these disabilities in books. It's just so refreshing to not only find a story with representation, but also somebody who treats the representation with respect and dignity and care. And there's something to be said for just including people of all different abilities. It doesn't mean that they're bad, it just means they're different, and the world needs to see that. Anybody who has two eyes can appreciate this story about a girl with a glass eye just as much as someone with a glass eye might be able to appreciate it. It's important for us to learn about other people, to just know this. Like, I had no idea until I read this story that sometimes the glass eye can irritate the eye socket. She takes it out every night. If she's really tired, it can be really irritated. At a couple points when she's like at the level of exhaustion, she can actually cry a little bit of blood, and it's not gory or anything, but she simply explains that there's like an irritation that can build up, and I don't know the medical details behind it. Like, that's something I didn't know. I didn't even think about if she's upset and she's crying. What's that like for the glass eye? Driving situation where her eye has to be on the front, she can't look at her passenger. I never thought of that, but I can understand it and I can relate to it in terms of trying to be aware of what's on the road and also keep up with somebody who's on your bad side. I can follow and relate in that way. It doesn't hurt for us to read stories about people with disabilities that are not like ours. It does not ruin my experience as a reader. When I read about someone who has a disability other than my own, I don't really qualify it a disability. It's just, it's there, it exists. But it's not a part, it doesn't define me. It doesn't make or break who I am as a person. It just impacts a little bit of the way I navigate the world. With all the good that there is in adding some piece of fiction with a disability into my library or my collection, it's just broadening my horizons, allowing me to have more diversity on my bookshelf, allowing me to explore what it's like for other people to navigate the world. It's important to empathize with others and to understand what they're going through, to better support them and help them, and to just have a greater understanding of the world around you and see that not everyone is the same, and that's the way it's supposed to be, and that's a good thing. And seeing ourselves with all our differing abilities, there's so much more than disability to people with disabilities than their disability. That's something major that fiction allows us to take away from stories, is to see past disabilities and see their heart, see their mind, see who they really are. And by reading about someone like that, then you might look at somebody else with a disability you meet and you look past that disability and you see there's a person with a heart, a mind, a soul, and help us see each other for who we really are and help us to make us better people. I don't see how that can hurt. So, yeah. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. When I started reading this book, I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to share about it. And I know that part of the reason I made this YouTube channel was because I love reading and looking at book recommendations based off of books that I enjoy. And I enjoy books with characters with disabilities. It's important to be able to find and connect with others, prioritize, and recognize the value in fictional characters of all different abilities and appearances. I hope you have something to take away from this video that just sees disabilities as something to be valued and respected. And hopefully we can get more people, authors, publishers, and readers to enjoy and pursue books with disabilities. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon.